Taking a closer look at officer-involved shootings in San Diego, the case that prompted a new policy allowing authorities to release video from the investigations. New reforms at San Diego schools aimed at protecting students from sexual assault. The federal investigation that found evidence of mishandled cases.
Yeah, if you want to know what it's like to be an opera singer, this is the show to watch.
The dramatic highs and lows of opera singers, the San Diego production that is taking you behind the scenes. KPBS Evening Edition starts right now. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Amitha Sharma. District Attorney Bonnie Dumanis released her findings and videos today related to 3 officer-involved shootings. KPBS reporter Megan Burke says today's media briefing represents a new direction for San Diego County law enforcement when it comes to releasing footage of shootings.
Dumanis says her office will more expeditiously share with the public its findings on officer-involved shootings. She says she also plans to release police body camera footage and other videos at the conclusion of those investigations. Her announcement comes after news organizations, including KPBS, had to sue for footage of the shooting death of Fredun Nehad in April 2015. She released that footage in December. Since then, Dumanis has met with the news media, law enforcement, and others on whether and how to release footage. She says this new approach may not be the final policy.
Really new territory, and in many ways a test of how we might proceed in the future. Our ultimate goal is to have a video release policy that serves the public interest and preserves individual rights.
Now, Dumanis says she will not release videos if the officer involved is charged criminally. She says then it would become evidence. Dumanis also says her office will edit the videos so they end immediately after the victim is hit. She says that's to protect their families. Dumanis will also host 2 town hall meetings so the public can weigh in on today's release and future policy. Now, we're going to show you some of the videos released today. Warning, these videos are graphic. You're watching video from an October 20th shooting in the Gaslamp Quarter. Officers shot and killed Lamontez Jones after he pointed a replica gun at them. Dumanis found the officers had reasons to believe their lives were in danger and will not be charged. She also released video of the 2014 non-fatal shooting of Michael John Taylor in Point Loma. The officer shot after Taylor rammed his vehicle into police cruisers and the officer. Dumanis cleared the officer. She also cleared officers involved in the May 2015 fatal shooting of Dennis Field. He was wanted in 6 shootings. He wounded an officer in a shootout as officers pursued him. Dumanis says she plans to release details in 11 more officer-involved shootings in the near future. Megan Burks, KPBS News.
San Diego's city attorney is looking at new ways to crack down on the street drug called spice. The idea is to use chemistry to ban any substances that cause a specific reaction in the brain. KPBS reporter Claire Tregesser has details.
3 people have been arrested in connection to the spice sickness over this last week, and just a few hours ago, a man was found unresponsive here between 12th and Imperial.
Last fall, San Diego headlines were filled with news about bad reactions to spice, from seizures to hallucinations to difficulty breathing. Spice is a man-made drug designed to react in the brain the same way as marijuana. San Diego paramedics used to be called to treat people who'd taken spice about 20 to 30 times a month. But last November, that number spiked to 62 times, and it climbed from there up to 201 in February. Heroin overdoses generated only a quarter of the number of EMS calls in the same month. But unlike heroin or other drugs, some types of spice can be bought legally in California.
The spice packages are sold as potpourri, but very expensive potpourri, and they look more like candy.
San Diego's Chief Deputy City Attorney Catherine Turner shows some brightly colored packages with cartoon characters and names such as Fruit Punch, The Joker, and OMG. This is all spice bought in the city of San Diego.
The packaging will say it's not for human consumption. It will say it's lab certified and legal in 50 states, which is very unusual for potpourri.
Spice is made by mixing together chemicals that make you high and spraying them with paint thinner onto dried leaves. In 2011, the state banned 5 chemicals used to make spice, but Turner says drug makers got around that.
So the chemists, and I've described them as evil chemists, just slightly changed the molecular architecture of these compounds to avoid detection as a controlled substance. Unfortunately, the state of California has not kept up with these chemists.
Because the chemicals keep changing, there's no way to completely predict how the body will respond. Sometimes that means seizures, comas, or hallucinations. Now the city is trying to boost its ability to stop spice sales.
So it's sort of a cat and mouse game right now, and we want to get away from that where we're just listing a compound that could change the very next day and just talk about what is it doing to the human body.
With help from scientists, city lawmakers aim to ban not just a specific list of chemicals, but any chemical that would cause spice to affect the brain. The city attorney aims to bring the new law to city council by the end of the month. Claire Tregesser, KPBS News.
The U.S. Department of Education has closed an investigation into how San Diego Unified School District mishandled a sexual assault at an elementary school. But Chris Young from KPBS media partner iNewsSource reports that the feds are still investigating another San Diego County school district.
As of March, San Diego Unified and Carlsbad Unified school districts were among 75 nationwide facing sexual violence investigations by the Department of Education. Documents obtained by iNewsSource through the Freedom of Information Act show the Office for Civil Rights began investigating San Diego Unified in 2014 after receiving a complaint from a parent. The parent said the district never expelled the student who sexually assaulted his son in a school bathroom, nor did the district follow federal law while investigating the allegation. The documents suggest the federal investigation may have involved one of several sexual assault incidents at Green Elementary in San Carlos. San Diego Unified officials acknowledged not following district policies and federal law during its internal investigation. The district agreed to develop guidelines and training to improve how elementary school staff handle sexual assault cases in the future. If the district fails to comply with the terms, the federal government can withhold funds. Documents confirm that the federal government started investigating a sexual violence incident at Carlsbad Unified in December, but officials would not provide details about that case. For KPBS, I'm iNewsSource reporter Chris Young.
Local leaders are taking action to encourage more military personnel to vote in the upcoming elections. Congressman Juan Vargas hosted a forum on military voting today in Chula Vista. Experts say one of the key issues service members face when voting is lack of accessibility to ballots.
There's been a problem, obviously, if you're out on the ship, if you're in the submarine, you're moving around a lot, you're defending our nation. Oftentimes, these people have the most difficult time voting, and yet we know that they want to vote, and that's why we're coming together today to see how can we help. You know, what's in the way? What more can we do to make sure that your vote counts?
The goal of the forum was to inform the public about the different options they may have when voting. Officials say online ballots are already available to service members, but they hope to come up with a system that can make the process easier. Remember, 5 candidates for the U.S. Senate meet next week for a debate right here in the KPBS studios. We will air that debate live on Tuesday, 7 p.m. on KPBS. San Diego-based Acadia Pharmaceuticals set the price of its newly approved Parkinsons drug Thursday. A year's supply will cost about $23,000. The drug is the first approved to specifically treat the kinds of hallucinations that can occur in about half of Parkinson's patients. The drug is designed to fight the hallucinations without making motor symptoms worse.
My patients are waiting for this because they know they don't have any other options.
Acadia plans to make the drug available in June. The San Diego company says the price reflects the value of the medicine and is taking measures to help patients afford the drug. The Susan G. Komen Foundation offered free breast exams and mammograms today in a mobile clinic outside of Northgate Market in Barrio Logan. Julissa Lizarraga saw the clinic when she came to shop. She doesn't have health insurance and she's busy with 2 kids, so she says she wouldn't have gotten a mammogram any other way.
So quick, so easy, and you know, it worked it. Sometimes I know that I understand that sometimes we became neighbors and we're afraid you know, but it's worse if you don't do it. I have friends that have passed away due to the cancer. It's free, and they speak Spanish also, so we don't have to be scared, you know.
The foundation has more than 40 free mammogram clinics throughout San Diego County every year and screens around 5,000 women. The next mobile clinic will be next Friday, May 13th, at the Northgate Market on University Avenue. An investigation is underway on the San Diego State campus where new flyers bearing a hate message targeting Muslims were found in a library bathroom yesterday. The discovery came the same day that controversial conservative activist David Horowitz gave a speech at the university. Horowitz is responsible for a set of posters recently put up around SDSU and several other California university campuses linking Muslim students to terrorist groups for advocating for sanctions against Israel. I spoke to Palestinian-American civil rights advocate Nasser Barghouti to learn more about the boycott, divestment, and sanctions movement against Israel, also called BDS. So what is the boycott, divest, sanction movement, and what is its goal?
The BDS movement is a grassroots movement that the Palestinian civil society launched in 2005, and it has three main goals. It wants the international community to hold Israel accountable to three things. One is to have everybody who's a citizen of the state of Israel be completely equal, so equal rights for everybody. Second, to end the military occupation of the 1967 territories, the West Bank, Gaza, East Jerusalem, the Golan Heights. And the third is to observe the United Nations right of return for Palestinian refugees.
Are there people within the BDS movement who actually want to go beyond that stated goal and actually don't believe in Israel's legitimacy and want Israel to cease to exist?
So the BDS movement is very vigilant in fighting all kinds of anti-Semitism, racism within the movement. Any kind of bigotry is not really tolerated at all within the movement. And to attest to that, a large part of the movement is Jewish.
David Horowitz creates posters basically linking supporters of the BDS movement to terrorist groups, as he did at San Diego State. What do you think of this tactic?
First of all, you have to look at who David Horowitz is. He's also the guy who said that blacks asking for reparations for slavery is bad for many reasons, and he essentially blamed African Americans for slavery. So this is a guy who's not entirely objective or I would think sane. On this tactic, I think he is basically demonizing anybody who sides with BDS and trying to use the terrorism tactic to silence them. This is McCarthyism. Instead of using communism as the bogeyman, now he's using terrorism.
So San Diego State President Elliot Hirschman has come under a fair amount of criticism for not adequately acknowledging how Horowitz's posters could threaten student safety. If you had been advising him, what would you have urged him to do?
I think he would have to abide by the same standard. If this was directed against Jewish students or black students or gay students, he would have taken a stronger stand. It's his responsibility as the president to protect his students. Yes, of course, we all believe in academic freedom and freedom to speech, including the freedom of speech for people who are critical of Israel's actions in the Israeli regime. He needs to be much stronger on this and protect his students. That's his obligation.
For a different point of view, I also spoke with Israeli academic Eli Berman. There's been a lot of criticism of San Diego State President Elliot Hirschman's handling of Horowitz's posters, that he wasn't strong enough in his denunciation and did not acknowledge the threat to student safety. How do you balance student safety with free speech rights at a university?
So I don't want to rush to judgment. I wasn't there, I didn't see, I haven't seen all the facts. My guess is that calling for the resignation of President Hirschman at SDSU was also a provocation. It generates headlines and it gets people excited and upset about things, but it's not the way to talk about Israel's policies. It's not the way to talk about the things that are going on today in the Middle East.
So what do you think of David Horowitz and his practice of creating these posters that link student supporters of the boycott, divest, and sanction movement with terrorist groups?
So what Horowitz did was wrong. It was a provocation that really had no place, not on a university campus or really not anywhere. And it puts the administrators at SDSU in a dilemma. On the one hand, We're educators and we're researchers, and we believe in free speech. And so all ideas should have a place on a campus. On the other hand, somebody comes from off campus and does something which is deliberately provocative. How do you handle that?
So the BDS movement encourages a boycott of Israel and divestment from Israel until, quote, the fundamental rights of the Arab Palestinian citizens of Israel have been recognized. Where does the terrorism link come in?
I think the terrorism link in this case is manufactured. BDS is making an argument. It's an argument I disagree with. Boycott, divest, sanction. I don't think that's the right way of dealing with disagreements about Israeli policy in the Middle East, but that doesn't make them terrorists.
So what has unfolded at San Diego State in recent days is reflective of a larger question at universities across the country, and that is, can there be a two-sided debate about Israeli policies without critics being labeled anti-Semitic? What are the lines here? When is it honest debate, and when is it anti-Jewish bigotry?
So this is what's special about universities. We're big, diverse communities full of thoughtful people that gather facts together and have open discussions about them. That's what makes us special. So all of these attempts, the provocations really, to bring in these, to push the buttons, to bring in these keywords, oh, this is anti-Semitic, oh, that's Zionist, so it must be racist. That dumbing down of what are serious debates just isn't worthy of us. It's not what we do on a campus. And at SDSU, I'm sure that's not what they want to do. And at UC San Diego, that's certainly not what we would do. I can give you examples of how we do things, how we do deal with our diversity of opinions and of backgrounds in much more constructive ways.
You can see all of our questions and answers for Ellie Berman and Nasser Barghouti at kpbs.org. Today's rainfall has prompted a general rain advisory for the coastal waters of San Diego County. Officials say water-related activities should be avoided at all beaches for 72 hours following rainfall. Heather Waldman says the showers will continue through the weekend. That's tonight on the KPBS Weather Report.
We're ending the week on a stormy note across the Golden State. I'm meteorologist Heather Waldman. Right view of the satellite and radar shows this area of low pressure. Notice you can kind of see the counterclockwise rotation, the center of the low just to the south of San Francisco, and that's where we have some of those heavier showers and a couple of thunderstorms this afternoon as well. But the system, no slouch in Southern California either. Look at all the soaking rain moving into the San Diego area. There are flash flood watches out once you get into the mountains off to the east. The immediate coastal areas should be doing okay, but of course, in some of these heavier downpours, you're going to want to take it easy throughout this afternoon and into the evening as well. Certainly could be some big puddles out there and some slick spots on the roads. Make sure the wipers are in good working condition and you slow down about 5 to 10 miles per hour than what you would normally be driving. Forecast for tonight still calling for showers and even a couple of thunderstorms in the area. Temperatures do stay a bit milder with the clouds around overnight. Near 60 in San Diego, low 50s in Oceanside. Will drop into the 30s up into the mountains. Most areas staying well above freezing. As you go farther north, though, up into the central Sierra, that's where we could see a little bit of snow. As we go through the day on Saturday, still cool and unsettled, although coastal areas do get to start to dry out. The mountains still could see some wet weather in the mix. And if your travels take you to the Great Basin, the Four Corners, expect some delays. It is still going to be somewhat disruptive out there with pop-up showers and thunderstorms throughout the next couple of afternoons. Forecast at the coast has a shower for the morning Saturday. If you're looking for beach time this weekend, Saturday afternoon into the day on Sunday looking better, although temperatures are still going to be below average, only getting into the upper 60s. So maybe a little bit cool for the sunbathers. We'll be back into the 70s Tuesday and Wednesday. A little bit of cloud cover starting to return, though. Inland temperatures are a few degrees higher, but those showers and storms will also last longer throughout the day on Saturday. So carry those umbrellas if you're doing your errands, or hey, if you can put it off until Sunday, that'll be a much easier day to get around town. Temperatures slowly climb as we go through the middle of this week as well, with just a little bit of sunshine throughout the area. As we go a little bit farther inland up into the mountains, temperatures on the cool side, especially Saturday. We only get to 49 degrees in the afternoon, and Add to that some heavier thunder showers. That's going to make it feel even chillier in the higher elevations. Overnight lows will be in the middle 30s, so some of the highest peaks may get some slick spots out there, but temperatures do start to recover Monday into Tuesday. Sunshine comes back. This area of low pressure moves on out, and we'll be back into the 70s for Tuesday and Wednesday. Back into the 90s in the deserts by the middle of the week, but we're enjoying this little cool snap for the weekend. High 79 Saturday with a couple of showers lingering. I'm Heather Waldman for KPBS News.
A new drought report says all but 10% of California is locked in a drought, but that's actually good news. A weekly U.S. drought monitor shows just under 90% of the state is at a moderate to exceptional drought. That's the lowest percentage in 3 years. California-based SpaceX has done it again. For the second month in a row, the upstart aerospace company landed a rocket on an ocean platform, this time following the launch of a Japanese communications satellite.
2, 1, 0. Liftoff of the Falcon 9.
This recovery was tricky due to the high altitude, and the company didn't actually expect to succeed this time around. SpaceX plans to start reusing its unmanned Falcon rockets as early as this summer. San Diego Opera is staging the West Coast premiere of Great Scott. KPBS arts reporter Beth Accomando goes behind the scenes of the new production that's all about staging an opera.
Opera is steeped in tradition, and most of the popular ones were written decades, if not centuries ago, which means this is a rare occurrence.
We have the composer here in the theater listening.
Yeah, he's right over there.
No pressure.
Jake Heggie was the composer cited Wednesday night at the Civic Theater. He composed Moby Dick, which San Diego Opera staged back in 2012, as well as Great Scott, the production having its West Coast premiere this weekend.
It's thrilling to do a new opera. It's an honor, it's a privilege. You are privileged to know that someone's going to entrust what is arguably the largest canvas the arts can paint on. And it's ironic that it's done swiftest. We have very little time to rehearse. We have very little time to tech.
Which can lead to problems like this.
The opera they're putting on is a 19th century piece that has been lost. No one's ever seen it. And in the middle of it, the god Amor comes down with a message from on high. Gods are always coming down on wires and going up. So we're no different here. We brought a god in and we're taking him out. We were stunned that it was as funny as it was.
A funny moment, one of my favorites, is when Tatiana, the very ambitious Eastern European soprano, sings the national anthem at a football game.
America's best rising opera star, Tatiana Bax.
She's singing at the Super Bowl, and she is offering this rendition with variations.
The Star-Spangled Banner, national anthem, with variations.
English is not her first language, but she's a can-do girl, and they want her to sing the Star-Spangled Banner at the Super Bowl. The problem is, of course, she sees it as a kind of opportunity to fill with embellishments. So the version she comes up with creates more than fireworks, let me put it that way.
I don't specialize in ha-ha repertoire. So the comedy in this is really great. And vocally, it is challenging because it's written in a way that, because she wants to show how good she is at singing, it's all there in the writing. There's high piani, high notes, staccati, runs, a lot of coloratura, and it's just, she wants to show off, and it's all written in the music. She just puts herself out there. She wants it so badly. She wants to be a star. She'll do anything to get it.
We're always aware of that hot breath on our necks, and you can find somebody warming up in the green room who's ready to sing your part. And I think that's what happens here. It's delicious fun. There is a little bit of competition, and there's a little bit of growth in terms of forgiveness and understanding what it is we're all trying to do here, which is simply to tell the truth.
In this case, the truth involves a behind-the-scenes look at what it takes to put on an opera. And maybe that'll make opera more accessible to a wider audience, says soprano Joyce Elcure.
We as opera singers are always kind of thinking of ways in which we can bring in the general public and get everybody to get to know opera and fall in love with opera and realize that it isn't an intimidating art form. You just have to go.
Baritone Nathan Gunn thinks audiences are more than ready for this kind of modern opera.
As a matter of fact, I think they want it more than ever before. The thing about opera right now is it needs to be, in my opinion, relevant.
The whole opera is about putting on that opera. And so the rivalries and the passions and the romances, that's all in English. So everybody would understand everything.
I mean, this particular story is an insider look at what it's like in the life of the world of opera, and there's nothing not to like. It's wonderful. I think people are going to enjoy it immediately.
If you want to know what it's like to be an opera singer, this is the show to watch.
Plus, audiences always enjoy a peek behind the curtain and a little backstage melodrama. Beth Accomando, KPBS News.
This educational video is one of several posted today to Sesame Workshop's brand new YouTube channel. It marks an expansion for the nonprofit into the online universe. Early this year, their Sesame Street show found a second home on the cable network HBO, allowing them to double their produced content. You can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. Thank you for joining us. Have a great evening.